Hello and welcome to Into the Toybox. It's another Sunday Night Live. We've got a good show for you guys tonight, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And we're going to go ahead and bring out our co-hostess with the mostest, Beta Ray Bob.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing good. Feeling
Good
the
deal.
mostest.
Good deal. Yes, the co-hostess with the mostest. All right, so we got a good show for you guys tonight. We hope. We've got a lot of people backstage ready to come on the show. And it's gonna be a very special AI episode. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and start bringing people out one at a time. So welcome, Pirates of the Galaxy.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Hi guys.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Hey, thanks for having me. Can't wait for this.
Man.
Joining us.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Also, Moss Isley Photography. Hey.
Hello there.
How are you?
Good to see you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Good to be back on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So here's another guest. We're hitting them. Hey, Dom.
Hey,
what's up? Good. So this is a big switcheroo because before I had on my phone, and then while I was backstage, I quickly flipped to my camera here too. So I'll probably just be alternating throughout the show as technology fails me. So,
just never let us know your next move.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll be running outside in the yard, being like, "Hey!" Like this. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to see what your updated yard looks like at this point in time with toys out there. So
Full of holes and weeds. So
there you go.
And blood.
All right.
Sounds like
Our last guest, Starboy Station. Hey. Well, thank you guys all for coming out. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have the AI talk tonight.
it's like it's
action figures.
We're gonna have the AI talk tonight.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, exactly.
So when a mommy AI and a
Time for an awkward talk about AI with Dad. You know.
Well, in that case, time to leave.
It's time.
What does the I stand for?
It's time. All right. So anyway, okay, I guess go ahead, Bob. Let's see who's all in the chat and say hello.
Right.
Get started.
Defiant is here with us.
Defying Outer Rim Station. Very nice.
He's got an important question here. Did he beat Bjorn?
I think Bjorn is always in the machine.
Ian.
Ian's here with us.
I'm convinced Ian doesn't sleep. He's always around. He just doesn't sleep.
I think it's
somebody named Starboy Station's here with us.
What up, Starboy?
How did he do that?
Thanks for joining the chat.
It's like magic.
He is AI.
He's here. He's there.
Says,
There he is. There he is.
Defiant did not beat
The
him.
ghost of the machine, Bjorn.
Bjorn hacked his profile and commented for him.
Nice.
So, okay.
Okay.
And let me scroll down a little more here. Chris Sizemore's here with us.
Hey.
Oh.
How you doing?
This guy's becoming a regular now. Awesome. I like it.
Nice.
Thanks for watching. If you guys didn't know, Chris had the 1,000 customs that we showed the week before, or I guess it was last week.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, last week. Yeah. Man, it's like time is flying just like that for me. So,
and then this week he's going to be on our show.
That's right.
So that's awesome.
But still more new customs.
Oh yeah, a whole new set of customs. So yeah, he's got so many, and then he's coming back on their show with more stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If anybody wants to have him on at that point, he can show off more.
Exactly. He has so many.
He has
is he like Lord of Thane, where he's just pumping them out like 5 a day, or just like
pretty much?
I think this is what he started with after, like when COVID hit, and so he just started. He's like, I'm gonna make my own action figures,
got it.
My favorite TV shows and stuff like that when growing up, and so he's, I mean, it's crazy.
It's insane how much he's got.
Yeah, I mean, my gosh. It's like if you think of a TV show or a cartoon that you liked as a kid, he's probably made action figures of it,
That's cool.
Anyway, really good work. I don't care what people say about the Thundercats. I think they're awesome, Anyway, so, all right. So I guess we got through with the chat. So tonight we're going to have a conversation. I guess we're still going through the chat, I guess.
One more here.
Yes.
Task
Hey,
Force.
Task
Put up to
Force.
Fat Red Foo. I see you,
Oh,
buddy.
yeah.
And Fat Red Poo. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. But anyway, so like I said, tonight, Bob had brought up, this conversation with me, I guess about a month ago or something, and I was like, yeah, I guess we can talk about that. I know it's sort of, it's a little bit, I guess, divisive at times. Oh, we lost Pirates. I guess he'll be back in a second. But anyway, so we're just going to have a friendly little chat about, using these AI programs. More importantly, for action figure, movement and stuff like that. Not really for anything other than that at this point in time. But it's one of those things where it's a new thing, and so some people are like, hey, in my opinion, it's like, hey, let's try it, let's see what we can, make our figures what they can do on this, instead of trying to do stop motion or something like that, because it's kind of time consuming and clunky at times, and just but it's like I guess we'll kind of bring up the first video. Maybe Pirates will be back in a second.
Cool.
So this will be. Let's see here. Let's cross our fingers and hope this thing comes up. Okay.
Oh,
all right,
cool.
This is Moss Isley's video.
God,
Their hands, like they just.
I want to kill that
weirdest...
front row pig thing so badly and murder it. Oh,
I love how that one came out, dude, with the tauntaun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You see the
like,
breath,
breath.
So on these apps, you have to like type in what you want it to do, and for the tauntaun, I was just like, he's riding his bucking steed. I think that's all I wrote for it, and that's what it came out with. Like even with the bar fight where they're watching the gladiators on stage, I wrote like, somebody spills a drink and then everyone starts going ape shit or something like that, and that's why they all just start waving their hands all weird.
This is the first part of it. I guess I had played some of it.
That Elvis figure.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, so far, the AI has made the animals, I think, look the coolest. Like the tauntaun and the dewback, seeing them put through AI, they just look really cool. Like half cartoon, half realistic.
Right. The one thing with the one video part where the people, I guess, are all sitting together, and I guess there's somebody, I guess maybe if I can go back to it.
The one where it's the crowd of people. There's
this right here. To me, it's like, hey, who ordered the such and such? And everybody's like, oh, I did, give it to me.
That's what you see. That's the best part.
Anyway. But yeah, I think definitely the animals definitely probably look a little bit. Here's Pirates. Let's see.
Hey, he's back.
Get him back in here.
With the
comment said it's
one,
creepy. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
With the Hondo one, I wanted him like pointing to the goods, and then the two merchants start arguing about something, and that's kind of like what it came out as. And then with the monster, I think I just wrote like his tentacles are swaying and he's chewing his food, and drool is coming out while he chews. He looks around and he blinks. It's hard for me to type out, even when I feel like I'm typing out exactly what I want to see in the image. It always comes out a little different than I expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that Jawa just have a samurai sword?
The one in the dewback photo?
Yeah, totally whipped out a katana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the other guy said it was backwards.
Yeah, well, his back was turned to the camera, and the camera kind of thought he was moving forward.
Oh, make him walk forward. Okay.
So the optical illusion came out kind of weird on that one, but I love how it looks like it's people wearing plastic costumes to me. Like, it's close to real, but it's not quite there.
All right. Let's see here.
I do love this alien like eating the stormtroopers. That
is an Imaginext toy.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I thought that was what that was.
I've got that one sitting over there. He's awesome. Yeah, he makes like
He's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's great.
He
Yeah,
reminds me of that alien from The Simpsons. Those
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned before, I work in junk removal, so like I find stuff on my jobs all the time where I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that, and so I took that guy home and painted him and used him for that photo.
Right,
The
so
same with the
here-
Elvis figure,
the comments
pirate.
of it's creepy, right? So it reminds me of like very early stop motion. You know what I mean? Like Gumby
Yeah.
kind of early stop motion too, where you're just like, this is surreal and something's very off about this, trying to pretend to be lifelike, right? So, yeah, or very. Oh, there you go. No, that's
I
a little
love this
smoother,
one.
yeah.
The one where she's walking towards the camera.
Yeah, see this one here, that's not what was supposed to happen. So
Oh yeah.
so the one with the ship. So this one's actually going to be in a video you guys are going to be seeing soon. This is a more
Well,
recent
some of
one
these
based
with the
on my
camera
newest
motion.
character.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just saw her. I think the other day. I think.
Yeah, I just made that one last night. So basically, what I've been trying to do is trying to work with camera movements as well. So not only just getting the characters to move, but also try to get more of that cinematic feel with camera motion and stuff like that. Which once you get into those kinds of prompts, you start running into more problems because now the AI has to figure out what the back of the character looks like, what the side of the character looks like. But yeah, this one came out really good. But this is where there's a lot of problems. So as you can see, when those legs come out, that's not supposed to happen. So basically, the AI decided because I said ship lands with, and then as ship is landing, it deploys its landing gear, and that's what the AI thought the landing gear for that ship would look like. But
Now,
and then
have you
the
guys-
other one would. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask if you guys had started using like the start and end pictures instead of just like the one picture and then tell the AI what to do.
Well, for some of them, I've been using because Kling AI has this new feature. Well, not that new anymore, but it's called Elements, where you can bring in several different pictures. Like that one with the ship, I had a picture of the ship. I had a picture of a forested area. I had a picture of a sunset, and actually put the sunset within that forested area, and then they had the ship land within it. So it actually did a pretty decent job with putting those together. The only problem was it didn't quite figure out what the landing gear should look like for that ship. So I probably should have had another element of that ship with its landing gear deployed, and it would have probably done a better job with the prompts.
This one is gonna be Bob's. I think maybe. Nope. Hold on a second. Let me.
Yeah, one thing I from my experiments with it, I found it's better if you can show the AI more in your pictures, like start and end pictures, what stuff looks like.
Yeah.
It does a better job of animating it. Like in this first one, where he like draws his pistol. The first time I tried this and just told it, "Hey, it's got a blaster." It
looks so weird like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how it takes the whole stand with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, most of these are
But that looks like something somebody did with stop motion, the way the
it
stand's
does,
moving
yeah.
along.
Right.
That's great though.
Yeah,
How it
that's not
spreads the
bad.
wings out.
yeah. That figure came with like two sizes of wings, so it's like in the first picture I just used the smaller wings, and then the second picture used the bigger wings. I don't know why he did the little jumps at the end, but
Oh, I like
yeah.
how it switched hands.
yeah. And that really what I wanted it to do was do like a cross slash with the rapier, but it decided to switch hands instead.
That one kills me every time. It jumps off the stand.
Yeah, I know.
He's like,
Yeah,
break.
that
I'm
was one of
breaking
those
free.
it feels funny, you know.
But I'm glad to see that you're trying the whole fighting thing because I want to incorporate some of that with the Titans of the Universe. So I could learn from the prompts that you'd use to see what might work best.
Yeah, with trying to do like action sequences, I found that like the more details you can add to the prompt, the better. Although in this fight between like Black Jet and Bullet Man, it still hasn't quite gotten it to what I've seen in my head.
Oh yeah, it's not. The AI is just not there yet.
So with ChatGPT, for example, right? So I use a version of that at work all the time, right? So you can actually there's actually some articles that say like how to do a masterclass in prompts for ChatGPT or LLMs, right? Large language model. So you can actually ask ChatGPT like, hey, what's a strawberry shortcake recipe, or what's a recipe that'd be great for strawberries for kids that's low sugar, right? And then it could spit back, and you actually go like, hey, here's what I want. What's the best way to ask you that question? What's a way to write a prompt for you? And it'll come back and teach you how to write a prompt for it. So for these video ones too, right? You can actually, if it doesn't do it in that LLM that you're using, the software you're using, you can actually go to another LLM and be like, hey, I'm using this program. I need to be able to write better prompts for it. And it'll spit out like, for this program, make sure that you blah, 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 blah. And it'll like help you out with that too. So yeah. So the LLMs will help teach you how to teach them, right? Because that's all these models are doing, right? They're models and they're like kids. So the more data, the more stuff you dump into it, the more they learn from it, right? So like you were bringing up the back of the character, it needs a lot more data points too, right? So it almost would make sense. I haven't played with these yet, but like an animation, right? You've got like for cartoons, you draw like the pictures, and then all the cell pieces are the ones that are between that you farm out for other people, right? So it's almost the same thing for the AI. It's like here's start, middle, mid, and end, and then it can, and then you have to write masterclass the prompts to be able to connect those things seamlessly there. So yeah.
Nice.
Let's try that with the prompt writings.
Yeah, I know it's really good. Yeah, so.
And there's a guy that I use on YouTube. His name is Tao Prompts, Tao Prompts.
Yeah.
He's amazing because he uses all various different types of AI to try to do the same type of animation.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So that way he gets to figure out what features work best with what AI software. And so far, I've learned a lot from him. That's how I was able to start to incorporate the camera motions and stuff like that, because he actually tells you how to write that properly in the prompts. And it's been working so far. I have some really good ones. I didn't show because I don't want to give away storylines that I'm working on, so that's why I didn't bring those onto the show. But the more I watch him, the more I'm learning, and the easier the smoother the animation's getting. Because right now, when I first started out with it, and I was trying to do the camera motions, the prompts weren't detailed enough. So then what ended up happening is the figure would get very distorted as the camera would pan around the figure, because the AI is trying to incorporate, well, how do I put this information in with what the side of this figure looks like and what the back of this figure looks like. So now that I'm starting to learn a little bit more on how to do that, it's starting to get a little smoother.
So let me ask this for you guys who have been playing with this. Then how much time, right, and the comparison is going to be with stop motion, like how much time do you spend on doing those scenes you just shown here? And do you think that it has saved you time between doing stop motion or
it's plenty.
Yeah, it's a huge time saver.
Yeah.
So back in like late high school, early college, I did a lot of like stop motion with G.I. Joe figures and just doing a camera like I had a video camera that would like do time lapse. So you could do it like manually. So you just hit the button and it takes the picture, and that's how I did the stop motion. But I would like spend like 2 or 3 days to get like a few minutes of footage. Whereas with these AI tools, I take a start picture and an end picture and then tweak around with the prompt. But it's like, now granted, I'm just using the free stuff. So I only get like X number of like free credits. So I can only do so much at a time, but it's still like a huge time saver.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I used to do the same thing back in the day. I initially started doing stop motion with the old 8mm camcorders, and that was a lot of work, because one of the things was every time you're trying to set up your figure for the next shot, you have to remember that the camera rolled back like a couple of seconds. So you'd shoot something, and once you hit stop, it rolls back a few seconds. So you have to incorporate that into the animation as well. So like even nowadays, using your phone and stuff like that, it takes so much to set up your figure for each shot. And then on top of all that, you have to sew all that together to make a nice fluid animation. Whereas now, I have like you were saying, Bob, it's like I have my first picture, my end picture, and then I just have to play around with the prompts. And obviously, the more practice I put into it, the better my text become for the prompts, and the smoother my animations become. So yeah, it saves a heck of a lot of time. What I do in like 10 minutes, I can get a good, decent 10-second shot. Whereas if I wanted to do the same thing with stop motion, we're looking at least a couple of hours to try to get all that sewn up together.
Do you find it's easy to go back and edit any of the mistakes if you shoot, like, say you did one of those videos of the bar fight, right? And there was like, or the Jawa whose head was backwards. Can you go back and like make those micro changes without distorting the rest of the what you've built there?
If you know how to edit.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like with the Jawa shot, those you have to like pay for points on a lot of these apps, and if you have to redo it, it's going to cost you points. So, in that scenario, I saw that, and I was thinking about doing a whole new photo to run it through, but I liked it as it was, so I just let it go.
I had initially I started with those limitations because you have the limited amount of credits that you can use towards doing the prompts and the animation. So I said, you know what? Let me bite the bullet. They have a pretty decent membership. Now that I know that I like this particular software, I didn't want to sign up to anything until I knew what I liked about it. The more I use it, the more I liked about it, and the fact that they're coming out with so many features so quickly kind of makes me optimistic about this Kling AI in particular. I might try some other ones down the road, but more on the free side. But the Kling AI decided to sign up with a membership. So I went with their basic membership, which is about $9 US a month. And you get a fairly decent amount of credits. And what ends up happening too is that when you use the Pro feature, which is to help make things look a little bit more polished off, it actually converts it really quickly, so I don't have to wait a long time. Because when you're using the free one, you sometimes have to wait like a good couple of hours before it actually renders everything. Whereas now with this membership, I get usually done within a couple of minutes. It's done.
All right, so
any long wait times on the free stuff yet, but I haven't started paying yet either. So,
I know that My Sizely, Bob, and Pirates are like down for this. What about you, Dom? What do you think you'll get into this at all? Very much.
I think that I just recognize everyone here is wearing glasses, so I'll go ahead and fit in.
Hey, yeah.
There you go.
Come off
One of these kids is doing his own thing.
Right. So, well, I guess I'm gonna return the question back to you, because you had said initially that this is controversial, right? So I guess what's the controversy? Is that it takes away from real artists, the true performers of stop motion, or is it like a rights thing? What's the controversy for using this?
Can I go first?
I don't like AI stuff. Okay.
Go ahead.
First of all, I love the controversy that it's divided the toy photography community so much. I don't like it's what you want to do. Stop motion is its own art, and it definitely has way more credit to it. But I see the AI layering that on top of what I already build and shoot as just another fun effect. It has been so trippy to see why I love toy photography. It makes our toys come alive how we always imagined seeing them as we were kids. And AI is just another level on top of that. But sometimes I want to do stop motion. I want to have that funky, clunky animation, with the TikTok reels I find, and I'll do that. I just see it as another fun artistic tool to apply to the art I'm already creating, because all it's doing is making it move. But the backgrounds and the props and the sets—that's
still all you.
Yeah, that's me.
I see it like any other type of art. Eventually, a tool is going to come out that's going to revolutionize how you do that particular art. So to me, it's just another tool. I still have all my software for doing stop motion. Like I have Dragon Frame, so I put in the money into all those things that I still want to use, because like Moss was saying, I want to be able to do the stop motion and stuff like that, but I'm also going to be using professional tools to do that, and I want to incorporate the AI to do the more complex stuff. That's initially why I got into using the AI, because I wanted to see just how complex I can make some of my animations. So if I can do like those massive backflips and all those kinds of things with the AI, then I would like to use the AI for that. But then for all the other stuff, I'd like to stick with the stop motion, because for me, it's still fun posing my figures for each shot. Like I haven't really shown any of the stuff that I've done so far, but it's a lot of fun for me now that I'm a little bit more patient than I used to be. But the AI does definitely help with a lot of the more complex stuff, and it also gives me ideas. Maybe I can incorporate that into my stop motion. So like Moss was saying, it's just another tool that I enjoy using.
Yeah, I see.
These guys are creating Skynet.
So I guess from the opposition team, then, right? Like, what's the controversy in the opposition team?
I will let Joel go ahead and speak to it before I will. But what about you, Joel? Do you think that you'll get into this at all, or any?
No, not at all. I'm anti-AI in all forms.
Racist.
I think it's
going John. He's John Connor of the.
It's bad for artists. I think it's bad for. Like I know someone that's like a very good artist, and they wrote a book, and it was a kid's book, and I'm like, I'll support them. I'll buy this book, and then I bought the book, and they wrote the book using ChatGPT, and they did all the animation or all the illustrations using AI. It's like, but you're like a real artist. Why would you do this? And so hopefully they're not listening to this, but I sent it back to Amazon.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're watching the show. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wait. So why did you fault the artist for that, Joel? Like if he's he has the capability of making it on his own or whatever. Like my bad.
They're a very good artist. They can make all these pictures themselves.
Yeah.
They basically just cheated in essence to make this book and said, "Oh, I wrote this book." You didn't. Somebody else wrote this book.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's some comparison to be made with using LLMs or AI as comparing like analog tools to digital tools, or like analog? Let's go very simple, right? Like I have a handsaw or I have a saw, like saw blade or a drill. Do you think there's some comparison to be made there?
Or like a saw and a laser cutter.
Yeah.
I would say it's you're using your saw or somebody else's. You're stealing somebody else's saw and cutting all your wood with it, and they can't do anything about it.
So for background, so this is one of the areas of my job, right? So we do LLMs for the DoD, for the Department of Defense, right? And like one of the areas we have is the governance piece. Like, how do we help academia, industry, and the DoD regulate and do you use responsible AI, right? So the guy who took over the program that's in there, I actually, before I went to the stream, I hit him on Thursday. And it's funny is I outrank him. So I'm like, hey, man. He's like, yes, sir. I'm like, calm the fuck down because this is not business at all. And I was like, I just want to pick your head on this, right? And he was like sweating. He's like, oh, man, this program. I was like, I don't care about any of that crap. Let's talk. I'm going to be on this show. And we're going to talk about toys here. And he's like, what is going on? I'm like, yeah. So he dealt with pulling in use cases from thousands of use cases from across academia, industry, and the DoD about how to use these type of programs, right? So I asked him, I was like, hey, so one of the programs, I'm not gonna list the vendor here, they can generate art, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, so that art had to come from somewhere. And he was like, yes. I was like, okay, so it scraped the internet and it said, here's a picture of Dolly. I'm going to use that to inform this, right? I'm going to, whatever you're generating here, your cat astronaut picture is informed by a picture of Dolly that it found on the internet, right? So Joel, that's kind of what you're talking about, really, the stealing aspect of it. Yeah, okay. So here is our perspective from, I'm going to wear my like government hat, right? The LLMs have to be taught. So for us, it's like these things need to learn. So I'm sorry, we're going to dump as much info as we can in here, right? And teach them, right? But commercially, let's go to the commercial side, right? You're right. I'm going to take an artist thing without their permission. I'm going to use it. So like Starboy, I'm going to take one of your pictures off your Instagram and I'm going to carry it over here. I'm going to use it. But here's the gray area, I think. All of you could technically be guilty of this because there's one person who inspired your builds, right? Your world building, right? And it's Empire Toyworks. So we kind of did the same thing by seeing like, oh, look what that guy did. Now we're going to make our own thing over here, right? But we're not stealing it. We're being inspired by. And I almost wonder if there's a gray space in there where a baby AI, this little tiny LLM, this little cutie bot goes out and is like, look at all this art and pictures. Oh, I'm inspired. Now I can make my own thing, right? And I kind of wonder if that's too much of a stretch, but I'll pause there.
Well, I would like to say this from my perspective of it. I am definitely against AI used for any, purposes of art and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want anybody to lose their job because of AI. However, I know it's probably, it's already happened and it will continue to happen, but I don't support that. Okay. For AI purposes of like making your toys move and stuff like that, will I ever do it? Probably at some point. Probably when it gets so easy that a 5-year-old is doing it, what I'm saying, and posting it. Maybe not. But it's like for me, I kind of see this stuff as is it any different from putting in a lightsaber effect
Right.
or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
blaster shot on our pictures that we're currently doing, still photos for, you
Yeah.
know? And maybe it is, maybe some people say it is, maybe some people say it's not, but it's like, for me, it's like, I don't necessarily have a problem with this, type of use of it per se, because I know everybody, well, I don't want to say everybody, but I know a lot of people want to be able to tell a story and make their action figures move. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so,
Exactly.
and it's not exactly what I want to do just yet, but that's my opinion on this particular
Right.
Hey
subject.
man,
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about this art or any art is there are no rules to it. You do what makes you happy and you have fun doing it. That's all that matters, first of all. Real quick, this whole debate really reminds me of before I picked up toy photography, my main hobby for like 2 decades was DJing, like at clubs and stuff
There you
when
go.
I was
Okay.
younger.
Yeah.
And when things started going digital, you had the sync button
Yep.
all of a sudden show up on all the digital turntables. And there's always been this huge heated debate. Do you press that button? Because basically it's cutting out all the hard work and practice that people put into trying to get gigs for somebody who can just press a button and they're not even trying, and which defeats like the whole purpose of learning the trade and the skills.
Are you saying Paris Hilton isn't a real DJ?
That is the best example I can think of when that guy popped up from under the stage and hit the button for it.
Press the base button.
And this is where it goes to like the purists, right? Like you can find any hobby on earth, right? So like what is it, manual versus automatic transmissions, right? Like you'll have those
There you
guys like,
go.
oh well, I drive manual. It's like, okay, great, dude. Like let me know when you get carpal tunnel and your ankle falls off because you're stuck in 5 p.m. traffic, right? Like I've been in that hell before where I'm constantly rolling this shift. I'm like, why didn't I get an automatic, right? I think there's different branches here, right? So you can use filters or effects, right? That is an algorithm, or that is some sort of effect you're putting on there too, and it's not really stealing; it can be generated. And then you're using a art one where I want you to generate something, right? A generative AI, right? That's kind of where I think the controversy is that's pulling in for other art parts. And then for this process that you're really focusing on here with the stop motion, what LMs are supposed to do is not create Skynet or the next Terminator. It is cutting out all those smaller pieces that humans that are tedious for humans to do. Right? There's no like real thought in some of the stuff that these things are doing. That's why they're good at it, because it's just like I follow the orders, right? And as long as you write the prompt well enough, it will follow those things together. Sometimes good ones can come back with like, did you like the paperclip from Word document? Like, did you mean Space Kitty? Right? Like it'll like help you out. But you're right. What you're doing is you're cutting down in the manual labor process. You're going from an analog handsaw to a power saw, right? Like you're just cutting out some of those steps in there and saving yourself some of the labor work. And as a purist, maybe some people could say like, well, I did all the stop motion. I took every one of those pictures and I edited it. Like, good. I'm glad you have that badge of honor. But I think it's comparing like a woman saying she's not going to use painkillers for birth control. I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? Or painkillers during birth. I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? There's no badge of honor there. Here's all the drugs in order to have that kid, right? That's horrible. So I think that there's kind of that campism that's going on here too. My personal opinion is when it comes to this process of it, it's cutting out the steps. And like, I don't use the old push mower on my lawn. I use one that has like an auto drive that allows it to push across the grass for me, because I don't need to be panting when I'm mowing my grass. So
that's always going to be the way when
you pass the butter.
Oh my God, that's my favorite.
Join the
club.
Well, that's sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
Bob.
go ahead. No, okay. For me, like I guess the best example of this is something like an anime example is like something like Ninja Scroll that was all hand-drawn cells, like even like that B scene, which those of you that seen know what I'm talking about.
This is the first anime I ever saw, Ninja Scroll. It's a great one.
Always going to be more beautiful to watch than a like computer assisted animation, like anime animation. Not that both don't have their place. It's just, I don't think AI is going to ever fully replace traditional art.
That's so true.
Hand done art, but AI is like a tool that people who are not as talented like myself, or who don't have the time like myself to do traditional stop motion
Or your
animation
talent is being
anymore.
developed in a different way, in that you're learning how to write the proper prompt to get the animation that you want. So yeah, you
Well,
may not be
true.
using a pen and paper, but your imagination is coming through with how well you can write that prompt to get the animation that you're looking for. So it's a different way of approaching the art, and that's kind of how I see it. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, there's you can never replace, like, an artist with a pen and a paper and how well they can draw, but I can find a different way of making my artistry come out with how I write something, and that's not something that anyone can do. Not something that everyone can do. Some people are better at that than others, right? So I think what ends up happening, is, especially with technology, like you were saying, Dom, it does make a lot of the minuscule steps go away, so that way you can
Mhm.
kind of like just
Mhm.
focus on what you really want to focus on, and not so much on all the little tedious aspects of
Mhm.
some of the art. But some artists love the tedious aspect of that, so
Right.
that's why they would never go over to AI, and they would always stick to using a pen and paper. But then there's other artists who have used pen and paper for their whole career and have discovered, oh wow, I really love how AI is incorporating my ideas, and now are moving over to that medium because it's a completely different way of approaching their art. So I think with the advent of technology, there's always going to be controversy, because of the fact there's always going to be the old school and there's always going to be the new school, and we have to come to some middle ground where we can kind of understand and accept what we consider art. But like I said, there's always going to be someone who appreciates it in one way and then someone who appreciates it another, right?
I love it
Yeah.
all. I love the people who
Exactly.
are doing awesome AI art, and then the people who are just building dioramas and shooting stills.
Yeah,
I'm still
exactly.
loving
Mhm.
everything people put out, and then the ones who do the stop motion, like toy animation, or I forgot another name to
Yeah,
use. As this
Toy
Toy
Nation.
Nation
Yeah,
and
there's so many.
stop motion Zach. I
Yeah,
mean, those guys are putting
SMC is
in.
another one, like stop motion commotion. There's like so many guys out there who put in the work, and I love their art. And I
Yeah,
Oh
would
yeah.
never want them to change what they do, but my approach isn't their approach. So I'm approaching it with this AI because it can maybe incorporate things that I may not even have thought of. But I still want to do some of the stop motion myself as well.
Here's the
It's
last
a
point too, right? So like
oh,
the Ninja Scroll is a good example, or Joel with the storybook, right? The kids book, right? If you read some of those kids books, or the books where like this author was like, I published 10 books using ChatGPT. I'm like, yeah, they all suck. Like there's nothing in these, they are garbage, right? Like that is like the most stilted, stiff, like there's no passion to it, there's no artist. Even if they stole from like the best, Martin and Robert Jordan to make the epic fantasy book, it would be garbage, right? Because it doesn't understand the linkage of like emotions, doesn't understand like the
Yeah.
nuances, all this stuff too, right? It doesn't understand syntax, doesn't have the experiences to layer those things into a book, right? So it'd be trash. So it'd be the same thing with AI, right? So if somebody has zero talent and they don't even bother to take a picture of the figure, and they just say, AI make this thing, it'll be pretty obvious to everybody else, at least for a good while, that like, oh, this is AI, right? Or there's like they just asked the AI to generate it, which is gorgeous. Now I get to see this, stormtrooper with big boobies
Gosh.
or whatever, which is great. But yeah, like I think that's it. Like you can have fun, like MEP was saying here, but I think at the end of the day, you'll see people who are balancing that, like adding filters. Like that's another controversy with toy photography, right? It's like I use no filters. I'm like, yeah, okay, this guy did. And like, or Photoshop, it's like no After Effects. I'm like, yeah, okay, but this looks gorgeous, so I like it better. Sorry, So
Hmm.
yeah, I think that'll help stand out for that too, right? So yeah.
But yeah, just like you were saying too, like for example, I use Grammarly for a lot of the stuff that I write, but there's plenty of times where I go back and I actually have to correct Grammarly, because it's like, no, that's not how I sound when I'm talking. That doesn't
Right.
sound like conversational text. It actually sounds like you're trying to make a formal letter to a government agent or something, agency or something. But there are times where I actually have to go and incorporate, because yes, that doesn't sound human. That's not how a human would actually say that. So I actually have to go back and make
Right.
some changes. So it's not perfect, but I still use it every now and again, because it does help me with a lot of my grammar mistakes that I make, because I'm not perfect. But the times when I know that's not how I would write something, I go back and I correct and say, nope, that's not how I would write that. So it's not
Um,
perfect.
to address either Dr. Sin or Drizzen. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. So even with this AI enhanced animation, it still requires human input. You still have to take either a beginning picture or a beginning and end picture, and you still have to tell the AI what to do between those two pictures.
And I wouldn't bet that it would take over 100%. We're still going to have painters and we're still going to have wood carvers, no matter.
Exactly.
People are always going to still love the more, intimate artwork where they put more work into it.
Another example is coding, right? So, like, at first I want to put my kids into, like, you need to learn coding. That's the future. And then LLMs came out like, do not waste your time doing coding. That's such manual labor. The robots will do that. But what are you going to do with the codes that it helps do, right? What, like, you get these batches of code, then what are you going to be able to do? How do you implement that? How do you actually use these things, right? So AI doesn't do information. It just does data, and it spits data back out. And as the humans have to be like, oh, I need to make something of this too. So I think it's the same thing with art. Like, you are the directors. Like, you could look at yourselves like, I am the director of this film I'm making, and I'm also going to, help with some of the storyboards too. So that's still the human piece of it,
Well, and I can attest to the coding part of it because that's what I do as my day job.
Oh, there you go.
And I've had like AI enhanced, it'll like try to write some code, but I still have to go back and check it.
Yep.
And there's been some times where the AI will be like trying to, give me some like code options of like, oh, write this, but it's like giving me options of like, oh, okay, so you're writing, like filling in values for this object. But it'll like give me object items that aren't really part of the object. So it'll be like, hey, you want to put in like object dot Fahugogots or whatever, but Fahugogots isn't really a part of the object. It's just picking stuff at random.
It's hallucinating.
It's like, this looks similar to what you're trying to do. Why don't you throw this in there? It's like,
but
that won't work.
That's the human. That's the human in the loop, right? So you can have the artist in the loop as well, right? Like, you'll generate garbage, and like someone in the comments said, like, oh, it'll all just be all AI. I'm like, yeah, but I don't think so. I think people will be able to see that, and they'll, again, just like whenever you see people say handcrafted in, right? There's still a huge appeal whenever you see handcrafted in. Like, it's like, oh, this is better than that Walmart piece of crap that was whatever, right? So I think it'll always be human in with the artistry, because as good as AI can get as copying, it can't make new, and it can't make the experience piece of those two, right? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and
that's one thing
for this. Well, go ahead, Joel.
What I was going to say is all this AI, all the toy animation, it all looks the same to me. Like before, I could look at somebody's thing and say, oh, this is definitely Mos Eisley. This is, this person. I can just tell without seeing who actually did it. I could say, oh, they have a style. But that style is lost because it all looks just like the computer is doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you make the animation without making it? Can you just move the figures without giving it that like super glossy, hyper, not even hyper realistic, but like you
melting.
Said, like,
I don't know if you can really take that out. It always looks like it's a
yeah.
human being wearing a plastic costume.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Yeah.
But I kind of like that look. It's just weird, and it's not 100% real. But I've kind of grown to like that weird look on it,
And
I've seen that. I think everybody's like it. Ask Rain's seen it, and I'll say, from my opinion, I'm just not really a big fan of it. I mean, honestly, but that's just my opinion. And it's like, I'm a little bit more, I guess, in the camp of still photos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my opinion on that. I'm like I said, I'm not hating anybody for using it. But
I mean,
it's not for me
how to do it.
And I don't think that it's gonna flood the market for sure, because I mean, it's still going to take a lot more time and development to get to where people want it to be. Is my audio coming? No.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
You're
your audio
you're
is
obsessed
fine.
with this audio thing. You sound great. We sound good. You're fine. Everything's okay.
Because I've been hearing robot talk for like 90%
Oh, really?
of the
Oh
show.
man,
I'm
that's
like,
it's
"Is that
the
me?
AI.
Is that
It knows.
you?"
It knows.
It's
God
listening.
Damn,
It's
it's got me tonight,
got
guys. If I'm not here tomorrow, we know why.
For Dr. Sims
It was
comments,
Kling AI.
for Dr. Sims comment, how dare you disagree with me? No, that's so I think you may be right, but here's my last. I think we're gonna end this. It feels like we're ending the subject here. So here's my last point to put it on, right? So like if there were realistic, this is gonna be just you may just remove me from backstage, but if there are realistic sex prostitute robots, right? Would humanity suddenly or men really all just go to sex prostitute robots, or we still want women around, right? Like there are several articles you can read about this. Like it's the same kind of thing with AI. I know this sounds perverse, but it's like, man, are men so shallow that they would just accept the plastic thing that is a Stepford wife and just give them whatever they want, or they still want the human connection there too? And you could use that same application towards AI. Like, do I just want something that is like unhuman and just like generated like this is what people's like, right? Or do I actually want an artist where I can see the different styles and see those things too? And I hope you're right. Maybe I'm too optimistic that men will still want. Yeah, is it still warm? Men will still want some sort of companionship with women, right? They'll still want that connectivity, the emotions, and that could be the same thing you're looking for in art too. Like I need to elicit something from this art as well. So I think as long as we have that, it doesn't matter if we're driving manual or if I have a sync button for my DJing. Good music still sounds like good music, right? There's still emotions into it. There's still talent to it. So I think as long as you keep the human in a loop for it, keep the artist in a loop, I think it'll still be valuable and worth pursuing rather than just the generated crap. So,
Dom, I have to say this, man. I think when you put guys in the equation, there's no telling what guys are going to do when you give them a choice. Okay, so
there's already some guys choosing the bots over humans. So
like,
what was the scale of that sex bot?
In Dom's example, I think it depends on the person.
The Rodian. If it was a Rodian sex bot, I'd be all in. There's no going back. Yep. No going back.
That's it. You broke the code. Yep. All right. Well, anyway, that was a good chat, guys.
It was indeed.
It's like we all came back in from this chat with all our fingers and toes, and I was glad that's the case because it was just for good, clean fun.
We're all adults here.
I've never seen any subject divide the toy pick community so much as AI toy photos. To me, it's stellar. It's a controversy.
I mean, I'm sure it was divided when they went to color versus black and white back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So
it was, and the same with going from the horse to the car. Every time technology jumps, you have a huge debate.
Even with Photoshop and stuff, initially it's like, oh, you can't believe you use Photoshop. That's not real, and it's always going to happen. There's always going to be controversy when it comes to technology because it's always going to be a change, and whenever there's change incorporated in life at all, there's always controversy.
Absolutely.
My opinion is, I don't want to take away from anybody's happiness. So it's like, if that's what's going to make you happy, you go for it. You know what I'm saying? But this is what makes me happy right here.
Yeah. What is this?
5. Well, it's not 5 POA, but it's Super 7 Reaction Plus. Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, that was like an O-ring.
Is Super 7 going more articulate?
Well, more O-ring.
Okay.
What is it with this Big Lots aesthetic display that they've got going on? What is it? Like Ollie's bargain bin display.
Big Lots is going out of business, so they got it on sale.
It's like they didn't have much time to set up their display, So,
even the color scheme, I'm like, what is this, man? Like,
maybe they should have used AI.
There you go.
The only thing about O-ring figures that I still like, I love them from back in the day. They're not really my thing nowadays. There are certain figures I'll still get. Well, the one thing I always have an issue with O-ring figures are those pins, those visible pins, like big metallic pins. I can't stand that look. It just bothers me.
That's another divisive, stand in the toy community. O-ring versus not. You know what I'm saying?
I have some O-ring. There's some O-ring that I really do like, but I can always make exceptions with any toy, any scale. I can always make exceptions. But one of the things that always stands out to me, or the first thing my eye goes to, are those pins. And it's just so hard for me. Just like with Acid Rain, it's so hard for me to not look at their massive feet and hands, right?
Do not talk about their feet, Pirates. Do not talk about their feet, okay?
You know I had
Their
to,
feet
man.
are
You know I had to
fine,
throw that in
okay?
there.
I don't know what you're talking about with
Design
the.
their feet, okay?
I don't know what you're talking about the pins. Like I've got those right up here. Like does not everyone doesn't have those in your belts, no?
That's why I wear a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, they're I guess Super 7 is making their
Oh, this is the old school monsters.
I like that guy.
Yeah,
For
the
Creature of the
universe-
Black Lagoon. That's cool.
the Universal Monsters. And
Yeah,
so
like
to
that
me,
Lon
it's
Chaney
like,
Wolfman is.
you know, my
high on
thought was
Sure.
for these, is there no way to paint the bolt though? I mean, or something, or make it a color?
Well, that's what I would do. I'd probably just sculpt over it.
You know, but
If it really bothered me that much, I would probably just either paint it or sculpt right over it. Because you could put a little sculpt over that, and you probably wouldn't even notice it.
Dracula. Yeah,
But I
like
mean-
the old GI Joe figures, they painted over the pins.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why Super 7 isn't. Maybe it's
It's probably
the
more
paint
for
was applied in the
nostalgia.
costume.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, this is probably like
You
like
definitely-
Dorn
I mean,
says,
yeah.
the charm,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I think that, like, I love the Universal Monsters, and I had them. I had the old 5 POA ones.
Yep. Same.
You know, and so I probably will get maybe a couple of these. I don't know. It just depends.
The last one that you showed, I would get that one. Only because that one, it's a little bit easier. That one
Yeah.
is a little bit easier to incorporate into like my world building.
what?
So I actually got the Fatal Fluffy from GI Joe.
Oh my god.
That one. The only reason I got that one is because it looks like an alien.
Yeah, I want to get one of those. Like, if I see one out, I'm definitely.
It actually
buying
looks
one.
good in hand. When I actually got out of the
Oh,
box,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, this actually looks really cool.
I don't
Going
want to
right
steal
here,
anyone's
Andy.
joy. I don't want to steal anyone's joy here, right? But these are like what our parents grew up watching, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Bob,
Yeah.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, look at this.
Do it again,
Speaking
Bob.
of monsters,
Yeah, whoops. Yeah.
I have.
I
Yeah, I
love
got that.
man. I
That's a
love
cool
that.
Yeti, whatever that is.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It could be an alien creature of some kind.
I guess I'm shocked. People
Oh.
care about
Marty
people care
McFly?
about Universal Monsters still. That's still a thing we care
Yeah.
about. Really?
Nostalgia.
I
Nostalgia.
will
That's,
care about
that's
Universal
nostalgia.
Monsters.
Nostalgia. That's my.
I will
parents'
care about
nostalgia.
Universal Monsters until the day I die, just
Okay.
because.
There's always someone that's gonna love that because of the fact that it brings back certain memories. It
Mhm.
triggers certain memories.
Old man
of them,
walking right here. Okay.
You know, sitting down watching movies with their parents and that kind of stuff, right?
I am
So-
sold on that Back to the Future figure. Oh my god!
I know.
I
Is
want
is
now.
that 1/18 scale?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and look,
Do they
they
have
What?
A Doc,
Yeah.
do
If
they
it
also
is,
have
I'm-
a Doc,
Depends
a
on
Doc
that one.
Brown? Do they have a Doc Brown to go with it, or is it
Okay.
just Marty?
Oh, yeah.
Brown, there
Yeah,
you
hang
go.
on. There you go.
Okay. See, this is what I mean by there's always exceptions. If anything, I'll probably just cut the head off and put the one under the body. Yeah, I don't really like that one.
Tell
but
me
there's-
they got a
I mean,
DeLorean to go with these
He could
guys.
be like a He could be like a
Not yet.
maintenance guy. Maintenance guy.
a maintenance guy, a doctor.
Mhm.
Yeah, that body is really good for repurposing as a different scientist.
Yeah.
I would have to do something about those pins though. Like the shoulder pins, you can barely notice them because again they covered them and
Do you
painted
think
them.
those are? Sorry to interrupt, Dwayne. Do you think those are peg head or ball joint heads on those guys?
Oh, probably peg heads.
yeah, probably like the old GI Joe anatomy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're like I know the GI Joe figures they've
They're
released
peg
so far are
heads.
like swivel heads.
Yeah.
yeah.
They're not ball joint.
Which I don't mind. I can live with that because I'm not really planning on changing some of those. But then again, in the cases where depending like on what the price is, or if I can get them on sale, I might just cut the head off and Dremel out the hole that I need to make them a ball jointed head. So
Man, I wanted to drop this. This reminds me real quick. Sorry, I'll make it fast. So today in St. Louis, where I live, we had the Toy Man Toy Show.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
They have guests that kind of come that you can meet. And this year, and I just met him today, super nice guy. I forget his last name, but his name is Jim. And he worked for Kenner and he designed all the original Star Wars Power of the Force line.
oh,
Like,
nice.
he was on the Toys That Made Us. Like he made the X-Wing toy, the original Dewback, the Stormtrooper, all of them. So I got to meet
Awesome.
the guy
Awesome.
behind my childhood imagination today and
That's
shake
cool.
his hand.
That's
And,
awesome.
Nice.
Pixel Dan was there next to him too. That's a super nice dude. Also, I talked with Pixel Dan for a few minutes.
hmm
I was
Um,
stationed at a Fort Leonard Wood 3 times, so I'd always go to the Toy Man show back then. That was a good show. I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is. I know you're not really interested in these guys or whatever, but
What?
Oh,
is
There's a
what's your
guitar.
what's your interest level in the classified cold slither?
Are you asking me directly?
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
none
Yeah,
whatsoever.
you.
Look, I look. So I'm not really a nostalgia buyer at all, right? Like, the reason why I buy things is, well, so I like the stuff like Exo Squad. Like, I have to be careful. I was just staring at my like 5 JT Marsh frames here I've got, right? So, but I buy these things and incorporate into whatever playing or world building.
Yeah.
So that's my first lens to look at things,
Yep.
right? So
Same.
if it can't do that, then I just have there's no appeal to it. Very, very seldom am I like Usagi is one of my absolute favorite characters of all time. Not right. So like I have to have like that, or the Samurai Jack, for example, that's coming out. That's something that will be, but those are such rare pulls for me to invest into. Everything else is built into like, what can we play with? So
Usually when I buy like figures that remind me, like, all the nostalgic ones, I usually have a plan for them to be a totally different character.
Sure.
So I usually don't buy them to be, oh, that's Zartan, but no, he's not going to be Zartan in my story. He's going to be somebody else.
Right.
I just like the aesthetic of how that character looks, and I usually only get them if I feel they could fit into my world.
Yeah, like I passed on the G.I. Joe Classified Raptor today, but like I hated Raptor as a kid. I know Bob's like, no, the feathers, but but that figure is phenomenal, and I was like,
yeah, he does look cool.
Look at this figure, right? So like that's usually what my go-to for purchasing is. So hard pass is my answer. Hard pass.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got you. Besides, it is
Brian, can you go back to that
San Diego Comic-Con convention anyway, but
go back one, Brian.
What's that?
Go back one.
I think it's Wild Bill. I don't know G.I. Joe.
Wild Bill.
So here's an anti-AI. I don't know if you saw the card on this one. This guy has 6 fingers on his shooting hand.
For the 6 shooter.
Yeah.
So I used to love their cards, but apparently they're just using AI to make this card. So
Well, the original was art done by a guy. These are, I think, they got caught, I think, the other day.
Yeah.
This guy looks like a cross between Cutter and Wild Bill. that orange vest and the blue just reminds me of Cutter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are these figures, are these 5 POA like the other reaction?
No, these are all O-ring.
Okay,
They're
so like the old
O-ring.
G.I. Joe style.
Yeah, like the old school
Now
G.I. Joe.
this Cold Slither Zartan in my collection will not be Zartan. He'll just be the lead singer of Cold Slither. And hopefully they'll release the rest of the band.
Yeah.
Just like how my Bebop is in Bebop. He's a musician in my world. So
that's right. Yeah.
I hate
Marty
that the new normal is $20 for an O-ring figure. I hate that. It's
Yeah,
just like, I have the
that's
$20.
not-
I'm like,
that's
my
not
God.
right.
It's too much. It's too
that's
much.
too much,
I'm not-
man.
Yeah.
A fan
I agree.
of that, but I'm not a completist on their
Right,
G.I. Joe
yeah.
line. So like the new Cobra Commander and Arctic gear, I'm passing on. The new Snake Eyes in a different color, I'm passing on.
That's how they try to get you.
Yeah, but like the Wild Bill and the Cold Slither Zartan, I'm in for those.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's something for everyone. That's the whole thing about toys, right?
Yes. So these are the new, I guess, Epic Heroes line from Star Wars. Interested in these?
I like the bigger guy. I like the bigger
even
guy.
the like Stormtrooper,
The
mech.
Hulkbuster Stormtrooper, yeah.
Yeah, I like the bigger guy because it looks like a power suit.
Mm-hmm.
You could use it for that. You could repaint these to give a cool like Star Wars slash Fallout vibe.
Yeah.
But I've been looking at these guys when I go through the toy outlet stores. I'm not a big fan. The one thing I like that the heads are ball joint.
Yeah.
And you can pop off some of these heads and use them for builds and they're really cheap.
And
if
honestly,
you want to use them for those.
The to me, the Darth Maul head is better than the one on the vintage collection because the vintage is way too small in my opinion.
Right.
And so I just popped off the head of the Epic one, and I'm using that one as my Darth Maul head. Like
Nice.
They have a Dark Trooper Moff Gideon from this line. I think that might be that's Brutus. But like those ones, like I would buy that just for the head.
And the accessories.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'd buy it for the head, the
accessories.
accessories. Like, well, the guns, it can be repainted and stuff like that to give it more of a realistic look. Because obviously they just look like plastic toys, but you can just add some weathering and stuff to the weapons. And then obviously I would just get it for the head. if it's at a decent price, because that's what I used to do with the other 5 POA figures that they had during the Clone Wars and stuff like that. I'd buy them just mainly for the heads, and then pop them off and use them on other custom figures that I would make myself.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like this Brutus appealed to me, because I was like, worst case scenario for like under $10, I can get a werewolf head.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You're on another box.
Yeah.
They haven't made Brutus for vintage collection. They've only made him in 6-inch,
I know.
in this line.
There's a whole lot of TVC figures that they should have made by now that they haven't, but they've made for Black Series.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
it's a shame.
Yeah. And I think some people have said that they like this Dark Trooper better because of
It's bigger.
It's a bulkier, guy, and so it's like you don't have to buy every figure in this line, or you don't have to buy any of them. But it's
Yes,
like
you do.
I think there are some for sure.
Well, and
There are
looks
some
like
pretty
it's fully
decent stuff.
articulated.
Yeah, the articulation
that's
was pretty
pretty-
decent on
That's
that.
pretty good.
I think the only articulation they don't have is in their ankles and their wrists.
That's
Right.
fine. I could work with that.
Well, yeah,
not
'cause-
every joint has to be articulated.
Well, Spin Master has their line of figures that don't have wrist articulation or ankle articulation. So the Batman that I got from Spin Masters, I actually cut off his hands, dremeled in some holes, and put in some Joy Toy hands in there. And I might actually do the same thing with the feet. Just cut off the ends of the ankle, and then pop in either boss fight feet or Joy Toy feet in there. So.
Nice.
And I know you guys aren't all real big fans, but
That's not true. We have tons of Jurassic World right now. Yeah.
and they're awesome.
Yeah.
These look cool.
from the movie coming out.
Oh,
Today at Toyman, there were several vendors that had like bins of
Yeah.
loose dinosaurs, and I was just kind of picking up and looking at it, like, man, the Jurassic Park line has come so far,
it's great.
and they're really fun toys.
I hope there'll be some of those at Joe Fest.
Oh,
That's
there
where
probably will be.
so we bought a freaking bargain bin of like 15 dinosaurs or whatever there. Tristan's like, Dad, it's only $10. I'm like, oh my
Nice.
God.
Okay,
Like,
I'm
we have
excited
many,
now.
we have
I want
so
that
many
Mosasaur.
dinosaurs right now.
Only because the Jurassic Park toys in Canada are so freaking expensive. Like I've been like perusing Amazon in the States and then Amazon here, and it's like it doesn't even compare. Like the prices are almost like twice as high
Oh, right.
compared to what you guys get in the States. And
They're
we don't
a little
have
pricey
stores
here, but I think when I find them loose at the action figure stores or like the toy shows, you can find them for good prices.
And we don't have Ollie's and stores like that here. We never get really great prices on toys, so
Well,
that's why I can't wait to head down there.
That's because Trump just put a tariff on dinosaurs to Canada. So, I mean, that's the big-
Oh my god!
Well, yeah, they are fossil fuels. But
Yeah, there you go.
Fake news.
The really good toys, the best toys.
Oh, I have him.
Excited about this.
Oh yeah.
So
He's pretty.
they are the if I'm not mistaken, this is from is it Hasbro that's doing this, Bob? Right?
Think so. I haven't seen a lot of details on who's releasing this, and I've been trying to search because I want this set.
He's still one of my
Mostly for
favorite
those two O-ring
Transformers.
figures. Yeah.
That
But it
that Skyfire, whatever you want to go by.
Right.
I have
right.
the one that came out a few years ago. I think it was it the Power line or the Leaders line? I can't remember. No, Prime.
Siege. Okay.
Yeah, so I have that version. Looks very similar to that, but with more detail. But the one that I really wanted to get was the 1/18 scale one that came in that box set. It was an exclusive at one of the San Diego Comic Cons.
Oh yeah.
I still want that one. It goes for like $400 now, but
Oh yeah.
I still want that set because it has Matt Tracker in it. Has Rom the Space
Rom,
Knight in there.
yeah.
That's the one I really, really want. Is that
Oh,
Rom the
right.
Space Knight.
The extended universe.
So-
That's right.
The
Mhm.
figures
Yeah, the
are
IDW combo.
Yeah.
1/18th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah, they're
Um,
these are like traditional O-ring.
Yeah.
Like if you look closely, like the
you
dude
see
in
the
the yellow
pants.
jacket has Zartan pants.
Yeah.
And the other one has like Baroness legs.
Because that Jetfire is the same size as the one I have.
But yeah, so it's like I said, I kind of like that one.
I like the head sculpts.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like to. Like I said, it's. I know it's easily going to be $100 pack. I mean, it's probably going to be $130 probably. You know,
Yeah,
because
easily.
of the figures and the Jetfire or whatever. Which that'll probably I think the last time they sold it was like $80 or $90. You know, American. So anyway, I'm sure.
That's one of the other things I don't like about O-ring figures is the female bucks. They just look too bulky, man. It's scary how bulky they look.
Yeah, I guess I didn't get my pictures in here. A couple more of them, but I asked Dom earlier if he was going to get the dragon from.
Yes. The Mythic Legion's 4 Horsemen Dragon. So go ahead, come here, lean in a little bit here. So it's $550, right? That's a pretty big price point. But when you buy in the pack-ins, there's 2 different pack-ins. You get the flame head, it's like a neck and head, and it's got a flame effect, and a red knight in there. That's $150. And then you get another pack-in with the expanded wings and like a ghoul in there. That's another $150. And then if we're talking about domestic shipping alone, it's almost $150, $200. So that's $1,000 just U.S. domestic. I'm on the East Coast. $1,000 for a Dragon all the pack-ins.
So that's about 5,000 Canadian.
Yeah. So I was talking. Yeah, you know, international is I was talking to my boys. I'm like, hey guys, if we just get the Dragon, that's $550. Let's figure it's going to be around $150 for a drag for shipping for the Dragon, plus taxes, plus whatever else. I'm like, we're gonna look at $600, $700 for a Dragon.
You could do it, Dad.
Hard pass. Hard pass. I can't do it. I like. There's no like. I passed on Galactus, and I regret major regrets. And I've debated because it was 300 something ish, right, for the HasLab Galactus. Huge regrets.
That's a dope figure, though, man. I love
my god!
Galactus.
And
I'm gonna actually fork out 1,000 Canadian for that.
And I'm debating now for 500 for him. I'm like, oh, he's right.
I saw it on AliExpress, so I might actually
so
bend the knee.
But I think the Dragon is just it's too much, and that's not
that's a lot.
On everyone who's like super excited about it, I'm like, that's great. Maybe if I had a different if I was more deep into Mythic Legions, well, that's not true. I have almost every single wave, so like I'm pretty deep.
I was about to say you're pretty deep in there.
I'm not like purely in that camp. Like, I like Savage Crucible, I like 4-inch too, right? Like it's not my only bag, right? So if I was, this would be a no-brainer, right? But because I'm spread out more, and I'm like, and I have to wait 2 years, so Tristan will be 12 by the time we get it. I'm like, this doesn't seem like the value up front for me. So so
that's like with the Cat Slayer when they first introduced it. I'm like, I want that. And I was all in. Then I saw the price, and I factored in the taxes, then I factored it in the shipping. It's like, that's too rich for my blood. Just same with the Ghost. I had to pass on it.
The sculpting is like I've tried to get in as close to the pictures. It's beautiful. Like
I'm
easily jealous to be able to see it. Yeah, and like so,
you can't go wrong.
Doubt worth that price. Like no doubt. Like the sculpting alone, right? And the paint apps just gonna be amazing. But I can't do it.
You have to truly be devoted to get that.
Yeah.
I mean, my thought is like for me, it's like I mean, of course, if I was in that line, you know, I'd probably try to find a way potentially. But too scattered out with too many lines and not even 1/12 mostly, but mostly 1/18. But it's like when they first showed that, I was like, $250, I may pull the trigger on it.
Right.
Well. That was sure not going to be the price. That was wishful thinking, man.
Owning the Terrordome or the flag for G.I. Joe Collect, right? It's the penultimate of being in that line. Like the fans have talked about this for years. It's been teased, like so. So
I know, Chris.
Excitement, like it's great, right? So
I'm gonna live through Chris for that Cat Slayer. I'll live through you, Chris, because it's worth it for you. But if I were to get that up here, totally not worth it. I'd be paying almost 3 times the amount just to get that up. Even when it was before aftermarket, if I got it when it was originally introduced, it still would have been way too expensive. I factored in all the price. Then on top of that, there's always the risk of something coming from the States having duty put on top of that, and then it just astronomically raises the price to levels I can't even afford. So it's like, not worth it.
And what's funny? Well, I don't want to say what's funny, but people were showing on their Facebook page some of the shipping prices. Overseas and stuff.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I mean, it was like $500 and $600 for shipping, and I'm
it's
like,
nuts. It's nuts.
man, you would have to be, you know,
Yeah,
you
very
have to
good.
be the diehard. Be like, I'm living for this. It's going to live with me for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
I think what I'll do instead of getting the dragon is I'll get a medium dog and then just color it green and just let it run around. Be like, boys, the dragon's here, right? So we can play with it. It's interactive, right? So yeah, no.
I mean, that's pretty much your well, for most people, that would be like, okay, this is my art toy, right? It's like this is the one I go in on. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Versus,
yeah, absolutely. It's the penultimate. If you're 100%. If like if that's your thing, like I totally get it. For me, I'm just, and again, personal take. Like Josh is right. It's beautiful, well worth the value, but not.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely worth the price, but it's just not for me, man.
Okay,
I'm very excited about that Kickstarter.
So here's the thing, right?
Here. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No,
Well, I was just going to say, so would it be if it was a blue dragon or a red dragon or a black dragon? Would that change your mind any?
The color is not the discriminator. I don't see the world that way, Brian. My God.
So you can always paint it.
No.
Yeah.
That's what I did with my Imaginext dragon. I'm turning it into a Krat dragon, so I painted it all like sand and browns and stuff.
All right, so the space zombies, you had those guys on, right? Tom?
Oh man, they're such great dudes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really wanted to dive in all into that line. I still might, but because it's 112, I'm having that debate, that inner debate. It's like, should I get them? Should I not get them? I don't know, but they look so good.
Man, okay, so regarding 112th, real quick, when I was at Toyman today, they had a guy with a booth, tons of Mythic Legion figures, but now somebody bought the line of Action Force, if anybody remembers that.
Yeah.
And they're coming out with a whole 6-inch new line, and he had the whole set, so I was looking at him. Wow, those have great potential for kit bashing and customizing.
Oh yeah,
in the 112 section is the new Action Force line.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. If those space zombies were 118,
yeah, I can see that, Chris.
Without a doubt. But I just can't. I can't alternate scales.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I won't buy the orange one because I do like that color. But it's just hard for me to try to get 112 stuff after I've spent so much money.
I know on 118.
Here's the thing.
I'm
right?
same.
So action figure scales are much like how I view women, right? I'll take them in any size. It doesn't matter, right? Really, teeny, large, doesn't matter. 12-inch doesn't matter, right? So why hold back on love? So I'm all in. I think they're gonna be great. I'm excited.
I definitely am still on the fence on it. But my main reason for wanting to get them too is because they're Canadian, so I want to be able to support.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Canadian products as well. But at the same time, it's like it is 112. The prices are fairly decent though, considering like that all in package. I think it was like 300 something Canadian. So for me, like okay, that's kind of worth it. So I might actually still. Bend the knee and get that.
And think about that.
I
That
love
all
the
in
idea.
is still not even close to the total of that dragon, right? So
That's true. With shipping.
Exactly.
I think you can buy most all in for any Mythic or Cosmic Legion for under that price. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about Mythic Legion. I don't know about that. They're kind of pricey.
Not at Dom's household, you can't. Like, it's all in plus every time. So
yeah. Well, yeah. So anyway, I thought Toy Fair was it was a little light, I guess, this year for I guess mostly Hasbro stuff. I mean, I saw other companies put in a few things, but it's not really so much 118 scale. But
yeah, because Mask came out, I was like, ooh, that's exciting, but they're not one. I was hoping they'd be like 118 scale. But they went back to the original scale. It's like if it was 118 scale, I would have been all over that. But oh well, I guess I have to live through Chris.
118 scale.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
the new Indian line from Chicken Fried Toys. I don't know if that was at Toy Fair or I just saw it on their IG page, but I love all the new Indians.
Yes, those look really good.
Yeah.
One thing.
Anything? Let me ask you this. Was there anything that you guys saw toy related lately that you're super excited about?
I'm trying to think of what I saw. There's something I saw recently now. I can't remember what it was. Well, it was mainly like the turtle line. But we already you've seen those all over the place, like the Casey Jones and the Triceratons and those guys. Like I just recently ordered those. My April O'Neil should be coming soon, so I'm very excited for that. So, but yeah, there's a few lines that are coming that look pretty good, but overall, nothing's really blown up my skirt yet. So,
when I was looking, Beta Ray Bob sent me some links because I hadn't done my research on Toyfar yet, but it's cool to see all the old throwback lines they're coming back out with, like Biker Mice from Mars and some of those weird, obscure cartoons I watched growing up. But I also wonder, looking at them, like cool figures, but how many people are buying a full set of Biker Mice from Mars with like 6 interchangeable hands? You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. All those hands, like I don't need them all. I don't need all those.
Well, here's the thing, okay, because Eagle Force gives you several hands, and I'm appreciative of that. Hasbro, as far as Star, gives you 0 hands, which I wish they would give you more, at least another pair or one more hand, just so you could have a different hand than the gun hand. You know what I'm saying? And so, but anyway.
I don't need hands. I got plenty in here.
Oh wow!
I do too, but I'm just saying, I'd like to have Stormtrooper hands or Mandalorian hands or whatever that were, not so much, the trigger puller.
What I would like though are like more open hands, like more open hands and stuff like that. That'd be great, but overall, I have more than enough hands, so I think I'm good.
No, I get it. Yeah, you buy figures. You got that. Hey, Jabalong. Well, hey guys. I appreciate you all coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Discussion.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Great show.
I appreciate it. I guess we'll just start in the corner and we'll go around and some Icely. What you got anything going on right now that you want to talk about or anything before we get out of here?
I'm trying to put more content out. I've been kind of wrapped up with work and my dog and just tired lately, so I haven't been putting out as much content. Starboy Station, real quick. I still got Lady Cracks that you sent me.
Yeah.
And I used her recently in a photo that I just loved how it came out. So I just wanted to tell you I still love that figure. We did a figure trade years ago, and I still use her a lot. So thanks for that.
How about you, Dom? What you got?
One, I just wanted to say that it doesn't surprise me at all that Mos Eisley used to be a DJ. Like, no offense. Like, as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that tracks immediately. So, I only mentioned for 5 minutes. I agree.
Oh, yeah, did it all.
So yeah, no, I have not got shit going on. In fact, I'm so far behind that Starboy actually sent me an amazing building. We did a little swap here. And so we actually got to play with it twice, Starboy. It is super fun. Like, it is highly playable. The boys, we did a heist. Really fun. They loved it. They were like, take the back off, take this off. Now close this. Throw a guy through the window. Throwing a guy through the window was probably the most repeat thing. It's like, I'm just gonna throw the guy back through the window now. I was like, okay. So that's my next video I want to do. But my God, have I not had the time? Life is.
I know. Life's been kicking my butt,
crushing my soul.
That's where AI helps you. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So we had to cancel the show for this week, but we're gonna pick it up next week. We're actually have Starboy and then Fat Red Foo on. We're gonna talk to world building and some lighting and stuff like that too. No AI, all natural. So
nice.
For next week. So yeah, and thanks for having me on too. By the way, I always love coming on.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's like I'm trying to get on as many people as I can, and work with schedules and stuff like that. But you know how it goes. You know how it goes.
Yeah, life happens.
Yes. All right, Joel. What about you, man? You got anything going on?
So all this is going away.
I can't believe that. He's just moving it. He's moving it. He's not getting rid of it.
I'm going to have to leave it up till Dom's show at least because got
to show something
for a background and some lighting to actually show.
Right.
So it's going in its own room. So the station should be 360 immersive in the future.
Wow. Nice.
That's awesome.
Exciting.
All right, Pirates.
Oh boy, I got lots going on. I still have a whole backlog of stuff that I'm working on, a whole bunch of videos that I have to get edited. But my main thing now is that Whip Wednesday Live is starting to take off again. But now we have we're fully booked for creators. So this week we have Chris Sizemore. So you guys definitely need to show up for that. This week is going to be about a cartoon theme custom. So I'm very excited about showing those off. He's done some amazing customs. Then next week we have Adam from the Lead Will Walk the Earth. He's going to be on. So I'm excited for that. And actually between those two shows, I'm also doing a Creators Corner on Sunday, 4 p.m. with Chris O'Donnell. I was supposed to do that weeks ago, but I had to keep postponing it. So that's coming out. So we have back to back creators. So I'm very excited for all those. We had Frank last week, so that was a lot of fun. That was a 2-hour episode, so that was a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of stuff to talk about. And so I have, like I said, a backlog of videos that I'm working on for Titans of the Universe. This coming Wednesday, you're going to see Starboy Station's characters introduction video. So you're going to see that this week on the live stream. So definitely show up for that. If not, there's always the replay.
Okay. All right. Well, what about you, Bob? What you got going on?
Working on some customs. I've been like doing a little like retro O-ring customizing stuff for my Space Case 12 collection. Just going back to happier times in life.
Nice.
And also, thank you for everybody coming out. And if you enjoyed what you've seen, please hit the like button. And a shout out to DieHard375. He's got a stream coming up shortly after this.
Oh, yes.
So if you got time, be sure to check that out or catch the replay.
Yes.
And that's about it.
Yeah,
thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Hey, so we're going to turn it off after that. After this, don't forget Pirates on Wednesday,
5 p.m. Eastern.
Thursday, and World Makers, I think, will be back on this Friday. Not 100% sure, but we'll know probably by tomorrow, the day after. But anyway, thank you guys for all coming on and being a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And we'll turn it off and say goodbye to next week. So have a good day, guys.
So
Hugs and kisses. I love you.
Well.
See ya.